In addition to sharing our stories verbally, there are countless expressive and creative ways to bring out our truths and stories. Because art making is inclusive and non-restrictive, we each have the choice of exploring many different mediums until we find a way of sharing our stories. We can pick and choose what feels most fluid and authentically expressive. These ways we can express ourselves include writing, art, music, interpretive dance, drama and beyond. These alternate ways of expressing ourselves might provide us a safe distance within which we can explore what is within us without rattling the cage too much, or it could provide us with different ways of understanding, articulating or seeing things. Also, these methods each may provide us with many unique options to explore within the confines of each activity. Many forms of self-expression also afford greater privacy as we move through our own reflections more deeply and purely before we decide whether to share our creations with others. When we find we feel safe enough to crack open the tight and protective shell that often surrounds us, our inner beings begin to shine through. When writing or using other forms of self-expressive activities, we begin to see opportunities to expand our means for articulating the things that occur to us or that we don't fully or subconsciously understand. The use of the arts offers us a platform for projecting who we really are inside and getting to know it ourselves at the same time, and these acts open the doors for us to trust our intuitive internal landscapes. There are so many benefits of participating in the expressive and therapeutic arts. We are all unique beings, so we each get something out of each expressive act we perform. Therefore, it is hard to list them all and make sense of them all in such a linear space. Perhaps a personal story might help to illustrate. As a young woman, people around me who resonated with my inner being encouraged me to bring all the random passions of life that stirred about inside of me and transfer them into a defined vocation. Around my early 20s, I knew I was drawn to the creative realms, but all the while that I was yearning for my own openings to experience creativity. I found myself often standing on the sidelines helping boost others who had a certainty about their passion for creativity, especially in the music realms. I always admired the free-spirited nature of overtly expressive artists, musicians and artists of all sorts. Yet, because I was afraid of impracticality and the judgments placed on those who choose the creative pathways by, I never pursued art making seriously, and I only expressed myself in modest and hidden ways. It felt so intimidated by the left-of-center things that existed within me, and it deterred me to enter the creative realms, and for a long while I closeted my efforts and avoided trying things or sharing my skills more broadly. After a divorce in my early 30s, I decided to throw all convention to the wind, and I applied for a degree in the expressive and therapeutic arts. The entire degree was based on the premise that if we learn how to heal ourselves expressive therapeutic arts in its many forms, we may be able to tap into the wisdom it takes to begin applying these healing practices in the service of others. This degree taught me the healing power of being true to ourselves as we embrace the things that are wholly authentic while behaving unapologetically original. I appreciated the idea of creating a platform wherein other people can also explore art making in non-self-judging or unedited ways. Especially since I sensed that the process of creation is often driven by temporally dormant innate callings that we don't see but that are implanted within each of us awaiting blossoming. Yet, I think there is a time in each of our lives when that beauty blossoms forth and our flowering beauty unfurls to brighten the lives of others or the quality of life on the planet overall. It truly feels to me that, by setting ourselves up with the right situation, atmosphere, intention, philosophy, materials and mediums, we can invite ourselves into emotive freedom. It can be very meaningful to experience inviting ourselves to be emotive and expressively free. Plus, I appreciate that expressive and therapeutic art philosophies teach that we are all authentically unique beings, and we each have very novel ways of making positive contributions. It feels like our birthright to exert simple creative acts that wholly illustrate our unique inner being. Our expressions of creativity bring the light and beauty of our interior tapestries into the physical realms, for ourselves and perhaps all others to see. The idea is to find ways to suspend the barriers and blockages within that prevent us from exploring and articulating our expression freely. There are many things that keep us from bringing forth our light, including self-doubt, uncertainty of our worth, fear of lack of skill, or questions about what we will find out about ourselves when we create. Sometimes our very culture suggests that mimicking others is preferred to the rawness and richness of creativity. Perhaps there is something scary about standing out for fear of being targeted or ostracized. Perhaps the act of unstructured, intuitive and free-flowing creativity is unnatural to us after we have learned that survival requires a compliant orderliness. Some of us cannot justify creativity because we fear that it is indulgent or founded on frivolity. Thankfully, though, there are ways to begin trusting our intuitive creativity as it flows through us while exploring a variety of intrinsically creative activities. The idea is to create an atmosphere wherein we can come to trust, honor, love and open ourselves enough to trust freeing the expressive truths within so that we can vent off all that could get locked up within. If we can find ways to suspend our need to create something that fits into the mold of what society deems positive, we are justifiably free. Many people have argued that it is so much more valuable to allow your own unique individuality shine through than to try to constrict yourself into compliance and uniformity. In their eyes, it is a blessing to the world when we allow our own uniqueness to shine through. Yet our work does not have to be wholly novel either, and if duplicating creativity brings us joy, peace or happiness, then that is truly okay. It seems to me that it is of utmost importance to honor who we truly are in the moment and to express that outwardly. Therefore, if we just find a way to simply be in the moment and set those emotive, experiential parts free, we bring light into the world through our authenticity. The idea is to be innocuously real and distinctive and to revel in it wholly.